Thanks, Will. Next, we're going to hear from Lloyd Mencinger of Aqua Medical. Welcome up, Lloyd.
Okay, thank you. Okay. All right, so a bit about what we're doing at Aqua Medical. So our target is type 2 diabetes, and I thought this headline really captured it, this notion, staggering cost. I pulled this infographic from the ADA website, and the irony is that the numbers are completely wrong because they're all increasing so fast. So here it shows 34 million in the US with type 2 diabetes. It's already 40 million. It says 88 million with pre-diabetes. It's 95 million. And despite now, with the GLP-1s, over 60 pharmacologics are in use, but despite that, most patients are not well managed. There's a host of complications, true epidemic, and there is no drug approved that can halt or reverse the progression of the disease. So what are we doing at Aqua? So our goal is to change the course of type 2 diabetes, and we have a device-based approach to it. It's an endoscopic procedure, and here's what it looks like. It's a sort of a garden variety upper endoscopy approach. You see the scope goes through the esophagus, through the stomach, into this first part of the small bowel, the duodenum. And what we do, our product is the catheter, and you can see we deploy a shape memory basket, creates this neat little treatment chamber, and from that center shaft, we precisely dose hot water vapor. And vapor is the perfect ablation agent because it has an enormous amount of energy, it can get uniform coverage into the irregularities, and it ablates to a controlled depth into the mucosa. So you can see here we have this ablation. We can actually go beyond the duodenum, we go into the small bowel, you can see the ablation effect, and then it resolves afterward. Okay, so the question that comes up here is, what does this have to do with type 2 diabetes? And actually, it's not surprising at all, because the bariatric surgery procedures for obesity, in those procedures, patients lose weight over weeks and months, but like the next day, immediately the diabetes is resolved. And they've known this for decades. Now, what's common in those procedures is they bypass a part of the small bowel. So then a company said, well, hey, if that's a great idea, what if we make a tube or a sleeve that covers the small bowel, food would go past, and actually they found a similar thing that over time, patients lost weight, but almost immediate dramatic improvement in diabetes. Okay, so since then, companies have said, what if we do an endoscopic approach and just ablate the duodenum? They've got some really impressive results, and we have some really impressive results to report too. We've treated 52 patients in Chile, a series of studies. We have the top GI endoscopists and endobariatric metabolic folks that are involved in our project as investigators, and here's some of the results. So this is finger stick glucose that they take daily, right? So the blue line is the run-in period, we call it, 28 days prior to the procedure. You can see there's a little bit of a downtick, lower is better, and because patients are paying attention. But as soon as we do the procedure, immediate dramatic improvement in glucose, over 60 milligrams per deciliter, which is a big deal. But the gold standard for diabetes is hemoglobin A1C. And here you can see a snapshot at 3 months of all the competitors, hemoglobin A1C improvement at 3 months. You can see our Gen 1 device, which is kind of our first procedure and our first generation device. Here's our advanced procedure, Gen 2 device, 1.8 percentage points lowering hemoglobin A1C, which is a big deal. And it looks even more impressive if you looked at the trajectory. So here's Fractal, one of the competitors. Here is Endogenics. And now you can see Aqua, this really impressive, downward trajectory of improvement. Also, the best news, and this is my chief medical officer is here, Raj Nihalani, and he talks to the patients afterwards, and he said the greatest news, pain scores are close to 0, and we have done a number of cohorts at different generation devices and different power levels. There are no SAEs that are either device or procedure related. So that's something they're quite happy with. Now this is the secret to the advantage of our technology, at least actually one of the parts. So the other competitors, they basically ablate just the duodenum. It's because it's a limit of their technology. Bariatric surgery actually ablates about 60 centimeters typically. It can go longer. Those guys ablate about 15 centimeters. Because of our technology, we can ablate similar to gastric bypass. So we're saying we're basically mimicking gastric bypass in a less invasive way. So Raj here, our CMO, said, hey, Lloyd, what if we plot what gastric bypass does in terms of hemoglobin compared to what we're doing? You can see we're showing a superior trajectory to what you're getting from gastric bypass. And then he said, hey, these GLP-1s are like a big deal. Let's see what happens to that if we plot that. This is a typical GLP-1 plot for hemoglobin A1C reduction. We're superior to that. So obviously, our PIs are quite happy about this. Game changer, really impressive. We love those quotes. I like to be able to put them on the slides here. Now, this is the difference in the technologies. So check these out. They all are basically a giant catheter next to an endoscope. So picture the doctor. He has to manipulate these through the patient's mouth all the way through the esophagus, the stomach, into the duodenum. It's cumbersome, it's difficult, time-consuming. It's an expert-only task, and it's going to be hospital-based. So that means the market is small, like a science project, right? So if you remember ours, all you have to do is get the endoscope down to that location. Endoscope is steerable. Any GI endoscopist can do this product, and all they have to do is deploy our catheter once they're there. Very easy. So this means this could be essentially commercialized in mass in ambulatory surgery centers. This is kind of the mass market approach. All right, so we have all these other advantages as well. Procedure time, usability, learning curve, because we're through the endoscope. We do not need X-ray fluoroscopy. The others need it. We don't need general intubated anesthesia either. We have all these other advantages as well, cost of goods, et cetera. Okay, so this is the one study we just talked about. We actually have done 3 studies, and 2 have never been done by anyone else. This one is the most exciting, right here. So we take patients, they're insulin dependent, we do our procedure, we stop insulin, and we have 5 patients now at 3 months completely off insulin. We have another 3 we've treated at 1 month, also completely off insulin. No one has done this without adding another drug into the mix. So we're quite excited about this. The last study that no one has done is retreatment. So the expectation is this will probably be a retreat model at some time interval. So we've demonstrated, first, we can retreat and it's perfectly safe. And secondly, when we retreat patients, they're actually on an accelerated improvement, more toward a 2% reduction than 1.8. So on top of this, we have FDA Breakthrough Device Designation. We have incredible, strong fortress of IP. Our IP attorney is right there, Sabing Lee, Kenobi Martins. If you need IP advice, talk to him, but nothing to do with any of our space, for sure. We have publications in all the Tier 1 journals. We have another stream of publications coming through. And the big thing is we have a fantastic team. Okay, all these people, including Raj, have big exits. And Boston Scientific, the founders, put in $4 million in Aqua. The guy in the middle, Bill Starling, has done 3 IPOs. So we've all been around the block. We've had big successes and big failures, too. So they both count, I guess. Here's where we are. We have raised $31 million in Series A. We are so confident with our results now, we're going to a pilot and pivotal in the US. $50 million Series B will get us through all of that. So if this is interesting to you, we are always happy to talk about money. So thank you.